Hello, hello. Welcome to another video here on my YouTube channel. Today, I had a conversation with somebody in direct message who was asking about what I would take to a theme park. So something like Disneyland or an amusement park or a carnival or festival or whatever. What would we take as raw foodies for the day for one of those? Let's chat about that in this video. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to talk about what we would take to a theme park in today's video. But before we begin, don't forget to check out our raw vegan recipe ebooks, the brand new sushi ebook with sushi recipes, drizzles, dips, and sauces. We've got salads and sides and other things like the marinated lion's mane mushrooms that you can put in the filling or eat with a salad or put in a wrap. There's so many delicious recipes, the okonomiyaki pancakes and the barbecue skewers made with lion's mane mushrooms. There's so many awesome recipes. There's 160 recipes in here, and they are available to you right now, along with all of our ebooks. We have 28 raw vegan ebooks available for you. And all of them are 40% off with code RAWFOOD40. So go check them out. The link is in the description box below, or go to payhip.com/rawfoodromance. So let's chat about theme parks. Now, in 2023, Nate and I went to Disneyland with my cousins, and it was so much fun. We had such a blast going as four adults to Disneyland, but we ate raw food as well. What did we take, and what would we take to a theme park? Or again, like I said, a festival or a carnival or somewhere where you're out all day and there's a lot of other foods at the park that don't necessarily align with your goals, and you want to feel good, you want to have a lot of energy, you want to be able to enjoy it all without feeling tired or bloated from too much salt and just not feeling as great, even though the food might have been tasty at the time, not necessarily great on the body. So the number one food that we would take, and that we did take, was the wraps. You guessed it, the raw vegan wraps. We have wrap recipes in the hand salads ebook. There's 34 different flavors of wraps with different fillings. You can fill them with whatever you want. You don't have to follow the exact fillings for each wrap, but you can mix and match. You can fill them with your own ingredients, and you can have those different flavors. We like to make the everything but the bagel one the most. The reason being is because I have it memorized, so it's really easy to make. You have to weigh the ingredients out to get the proper composition for the batter. So I have all those numbers memorized. So whenever we make wraps, it's so easy for me to just make those because we always have the ingredients on hand, and it's fast for me to make those ones. So we usually make those ones. But again, there's 34 different flavors of wraps in there. And we make the wraps in advance. We will make them a few days before our trip, so we have enough wraps to last us for each day for the meals that we want to have for the wraps. And we usually fill them the morning of or the night before. If we're filling them the night before or even the morning of, I would probably avoid using really wet ingredients like tomatoes, cucumbers, and ferments like sauerkrauts and stuff. Just stick to dry ingredients and have a sauce on the side. And you can take food into some theme parks. I'll talk a little bit about if you can't later, but we were able to take our wraps and fruit and our sauces and our snacks into Disneyland, and they didn't say anything. In well, they did. They did say that the wraps smelled really good. So they did say something, but they didn't say anything about us not being allowed to have them in the theme park. So we were able to take all our stuff. So there's that. The wraps were so awesome. And again, like I said, we took sauces as well. We had them in little squeeze bottles. And you can, I recommend if you're going anywhere that has like metal detectors or anything like that, I would recommend sticking with the airport size bottles, like the shampoo travel size bottles. Just put the sauces in those instead, because if you bring a big bottle, there might be a chance that they would take it because it's a little bit too much liquid. So think of it like an airport. If you're going to take food in, try to stick to those rules because they're a little bit on the safer side for not losing your sauce because you wouldn't want to lose your sauce. That's like a really important part of the enjoyment of the wrap. So yeah, we took the sauces in, we drizzled those on while we were in the theme park, and it was so much fun. And it was so refreshing to be able to eat something healthy while we were there and not to feel all bogged down by choosing something that we would have in the past. The next thing that I would recommend would be something like the pepper nori sticks. So this recipe is in the Party Food ebook. We have an ebook called Party Food, and it's dehydrator, kind of like little snackables, appetizer kind of style things. The pepper nori sticks are really fun and they're very easy to eat because they're so delicious. And they hold up really well in a little bag or container or something like that. So with this recipe, you blend up in the food processor the inside meaty part and you roll them in little pieces of nori. And this takes a little bit of time, but when I make this recipe, I will make like a double batch and I'll have like 72 nori sticks because they're so good. They're so easy to eat. And I made some for each of us. I think I made 4 batches. And it was like, it was a little bit extra work to do it, but boy, were we happy to have those when we were standing in the long lines waiting for the rides. We had our pepper nori sticks that we could snack on and really filled us up as well. So that was really fun. I do recommend those. They're a really great little kind of a snack in between meals while you're standing in line. The next thing is kind of iffy. It depends on the venue that you are going to. If you are allowed to have certain things in, would be whole fruit. Things like grapes that have been washed and they're in a container. You could take apples and oranges. Those are really, really great travel foods. Apples are like one of the top best things to take traveling because you just throw them in your backpack. They don't squish very easily, and they're really easy to eat. So apples for sure would be a definite one. Citrus, I wouldn't say necessarily melons unless you have, like, if there's a lot of you and one person can carry the melons and one person can carry the wraps or what have you. But melons are a great travel food for like camping, even backpacking. If you're just going up for the day, you can have a melon. It's nice and hydrating as well. But yeah, grapes, apples, and citrus are some of the top fruits. You could probably take a mango, but again, like the softer things, unless they're in a container, they're going to be a little more challenging to eat. But whole fruit's going to give you the energy and the hydration that you need to really enjoy your day. The next thing would be fruit leathers. Now, if you can't take whole fruit in with you, fruit leathers are a really great option to take with you. And they're really, really, really easy to make. Just blend 3 or 4 cups of fruit. It could be berries, peaches, nectarines, kiwis, apples, whatever it is, 3 or 4 cups worth in the blender with maybe a little lemon juice because the lemon juice helps to prevent oxidation from happening. So maybe a tablespoon or 2 of lemon juice in there. And then if spices, if you want, like you could add pumpkin pie spice to the apples or cinnamon. You could add maybe some basil to the berries. You could add cayenne to a mango blend and have like a mango cayenne kind of a fruit roll. And then once you blend that, pour it into one of the wrap trays, those silicone wrap trays. So about 3 or 4 cups makes about 1 wrap tray worth of the fruit roll-ups, and then let it dry overnight. Let it dry until it's fully, fully, fully dry. Then you can peel it off and roll it up in parchment paper, cut it up into little pieces, and throw those in your backpack. Those are a great way of getting some energy in. Make sure that you drink enough water while you're eating those kinds of things, because number one, if you're out and it's sunny and it's a hot day and you're outside, then you're going to need to drink a lot of water anyways. But when you're eating more dehydrated foods, then you might need a little extra. But that's a great way to get some fruit in, some fruit energy in. When you are at a theme park. And then the last one that I would recommend would be things like date balls. which is sort of similar to the fruit leather, but they're made into balls using dates as the base. So you could blend up some dates, add a little bit of maybe some dried sprouted oats. You could have those from 1 degree. They are actually raw. They are actually raw. I had a friend who called the company and they are actually considered raw. They don't put raw on the label because some, like the general public, is fearful of raw like flowers and stuff like that for some reason. So they don't put raw on the label, but they are raw. The sprouted oats, rolled oats from 1 degree. So you could grind those into a powder and you could add that to the dates to kind of make it sticky. Roll those up, maybe in a little bit of coconut, shredded coconut or something. Cinnamon and date sugar is a really nice coating on the outside. And you've got some date balls that you could take, and those are great energy as well. So, two things that I wanted to mention as well. If you're going to a theme park as a raw foodie, the best thing that I can suggest is to consume as many calories as you can before you even get there. This is going to make a huge difference in your day. If you go to the theme park in the morning and you haven't had anything to eat, it's going to be a lot harder to deal with cravings or energy throughout the day if you have not consumed enough. So when we go, we have to make sure that we have enough fuel in. This goes for theme parks, for big hikes, for, even going on the Las Vegas Strip for the day or whatever it is. Whatever we're doing for the day, we make sure that we have a huge amount of calories in before we even get to our location. So a big 800 to even 1200 calorie smoothie, drinking that before we go, having some fruit ready, eating as much as we can before we get to the venue. That way we don't have to rely so much on making sure we have a huge amount of food while we're there. We just have to have like one meal and some snacks, and that's usually enough. And then by the time we get home, we can have our evening salad or whatever it is. So we really only have to worry about one meal plus snacks. We don't have to bring like 4,000 calories for each of us to our day. We just need to be conscious of making sure that we eat enough and we have that. So that's a really big tip, is make sure that you fuel up on calories and hydration before you go, so that you have the energy to enjoy your day. Another thing too is, like I mentioned, some venues don't allow food in. So what would you do in those situations? Number one, again, I would fuel up before I go. 100%. Fuel up before you go. Get as many calories in as you can before you go. And now, depending on how long you're there, sometimes if you're only there for a concert and it's maybe 3 hours, you don't need to have something in there. If you eat before and then you're going to have something after, 3 hours isn't a big deal. You don't have to always have food with you. But if you're going for a really long time, that might be a little challenging. You can't always sneak stuff in. If you can sneak stuff in, I would go for fruit leathers or the pepper nori sticks. Those are really nice, easy things that you can stuff in a little bag inside your purse or backpack or whatever it is that you're allowed to take in. So you could try that. Oh, actually, you know what would be really fun? We just released the Make It Raw Volume 4 ebook that I wrote with Chef AJ. And inside that ebook, there's a recipe for black licorice. It's a date-based recipe, so it's fruit, and it tastes like black licorice. So if you're going to like a movie or a concert or something, and you are allowed to take some food in, the black licorice candies are so awesome, and they're raw. And again, dates. So get that ebook, Make It Raw Volume 4. It's the green one in the ebook store. And it's 40% off as well with code RAWFOOD40. So if you want that recipe, it's in that ebook. But yeah, it's really challenging. It really depends on how long you're going to be at the venue, what the venue allows, if you've been there before and you were able to bring some food in. And if not, I would also recommend checking out some of the other vendors that might be there. If they have like a place that you could get some fruit, sometimes there's some smoothies, or there's always guacamole and salsa, which are raw, or the pico. Some salsas are cooked, but most of the raw picos are totally cool. So you could do guacamole and pico with some lettuce. If it really comes down to it, a lot of places do have that available as well. So, I mean, you got to make it work if you have to. If you're strapped, ask the chef if there's something that they can do for you. But again, guac and salsa with lettuce, that's a really great way to satiate if you are there for a longer period of time and you can't take your own stuff in. But most of the time, there's some places that usually have fruit. It really depends on the venue. So you have to call ahead or go online and check and see what's there. But you can do it and you can have a wonderful time at your theme park or carnival or festival or whatever you're doing this summer. So yeah, thank you so much for asking the question, and I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out our ebooks. Code RAWFOOD40 gets you 40% off any of our ebooks or ebook collections at checkout. So go check those out. Link is in the description box below, or go to payhip.com/rawfoodromance. And we will be back for another video. Thank you so much for joining me again for this one. I love you, and fruit on.